Shalom, Patreon. I've got a question here from our brother, John Slatton. He of the Asymmetric Spiritual Warfare quote, which is tremendous. And his question is, I think the only real question is, why are you so awesome? And I have a stack of questions here that represent about a third of the questions that have been asked recently on Patreon. And I keep flipping through them, and I keep coming back to this one, and I wanna hit this question because there is a dichotomy here. And just for everybody who's new to the channel, I was well aware of the word dichotomy before I was aware of who Jocko Willink is. I'm kind of upset that he monopolized the word dichotomy because I enjoyed using it in conversation before now. However, here's the deal. I'm not that awesome. I'm just another guy. If there's three things, we'll call it three things. If there's three things that maybe separate me from any other normal guy that you might meet on the street. The first is, I know who made me and I know why. And that's hugely powerful. I don't think there's a more empowering thing than to know your creator and know why you were created. All my former military guys get this. You get out, you get separated, and you just kind of wallow around for a while because you don't have a mission anymore. You don't know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And some people fake it till they make it, and some people just completely shut down, and some people, you know, find some compromise in the middle between fakery and lack of fulfillment, and it kills them slowly on the inside because they don't know the why. I know the why, and this is part of it. And so I know my creator, and I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's not because of me, that's because of him. I'm not awesome. The Father is awesome. The fact that he can use a guy with the backstory that I have, with the life experience that I have, covered in satanic tattoos, who's done pretty much every drug that's ever been on the face of the planet, who's, you know, I used to drink a handle of Jim Beam every night, and just been, you know, abused and used up and thrown out and literally spit on and kicked in the head. And I've come home, I've been in fights, I've been covered in blood, none of it mine. And I've just, man, if it's the kind of thing you could hear in a sob story or you know, I could be in prison or dead, to say nothing of other life experiences that I've had. And yet here I am, not because I'm me, but because the Father is him. And that's first and foremost, that everybody understand that. Because the Father can use and will use every single one of us. So if I can do it, y'all can too. And I'm just trying to be the example of that in this that we do. The second thing is, you can call it being stubborn, you can call it being strong-willed, you can call it having a certain constitution, call it whatever you want. I am vicious with my willpower when I want to be. I get something in my head and I just do it. And you're just not going to stop me. Or, no, I'm not doing that. I will not comply. The end. And I've been in situations in my life where I've had to make those stands. And like anything else, it's a muscle. The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. So, just that brutal willpower. And it's stronger in the micro than it is in the macro. And maybe that's a character trait or a character flaw, or it's definitely a facet of being fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of my Creator. Like, it's a gift. I get that. But I also think it's a gift that's been strengthened through circumstance and has grown strong through constant use. I'm good at accomplishing goals. I'm good at setting goals and accomplishing them. And I'm very good at visualizing, this is how it's going to be. Well, how's that going to happen? Don't know. How's none of my business? Doesn't matter. I'm going to show up and we're going to just work our faces off until it gets done. Man, the stories I could tell you guys. I have, just through sheer force of will, accomplished things that people told me were literally impossible to do. And to my thinking, it's not that it's impossible. Y'all just don't want to work hard enough to get it done. And so that force of will, I'd say, coupled with a really strong work ethic, I've met just a handful of people in my life who will work as much as I will. Now, I'm not old, but there's a lot of days my spine would disagree with that statement. I've got my bumps and bruises, I've taken my lumps, and there's parts of me that don't feel, they're not fresh off the factory floor. So there's definitely days where it's a literal grind. I can feel bone on bone or pinched nerves, or I can't feel anything at all because of nerve damage or whatever. And so that's okay. I'll take a break from doing one thing and go do another thing. But most days, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. is my time. And it's my time with the Father. And my time with the quiet before the house is woken up, before the sun's coming up, before the birds start chirping, before that stupid rooster opens his face. It's my time. 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. every morning. And then from 6 a.m. to between 6 and 9 p.m., 5, sometimes 6 days a week. I'd say about 11 days every 2 weeks. From 6 a.m. to between 6 and 9 p.m. is scheduled. I was on the phone with somebody earlier today that I know outside of business, and they're like, I called you a couple days ago hoping to talk to you, and I said, listen, man, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, for better or worse, it doesn't work that way anymore. If you call me when I'm in the middle of one thing, I can't stop that one thing to get a hold of you on this other thing. It doesn't work that way because I have to be so intentional with my time and exercise that brutal willpower to get through all of the different things that I do in a day. And so I'd say that's facet number 2 of how the me that I am manifests itself, is that I can be brutal with my willpower. We're gonna do this. Well, T, I don't know how. I don't know how either. But standing here talking about it isn't gonna get it done. So we're just gonna start doing, and we'll figure it out as we go. If we gotta pivot 3, 4, 10 times in the doing of, that's fine. We'll figure it out. But at some point, we need to quit talking and we need to start acting. And I'm cool with talking while acting. I like building the plane while we're flying it. I'm cool with that. And the risk of failure, oh boy, does it compel me. It absolutely compels me towards success. And I've got a bunch of people that depend on me, both here on property and outside of this property, who in one way or another are highly dependent upon me to show up and do what I do. And it's no secret that there is a sign hanging in my office that says there are people depending on you. So if I couple that sense of responsibility with that brutal willpower, it's going to get done. It might get done to my personal detriment, but it'll be done. Okay? So that's facet 2. And the third facet is, I have an awesome wife. And it's often said that, behind every strong man, there's a good woman. There is with me. There have been, I will say. There have been times in our past where she's had every reason to quit putting up with me. By the grace of the Most High, she hasn't. There are days when the old me is just itching to break free, and it doesn't. And I thank the Father for her that she's here. She's one of my guideposts. You know, I can navigate by her because she's constant. You know, she's like the North Star. And so, having her around, well, even, you know, when we don't agree. Hi, baby. We don't always get along, you know, but we do always love each other. And so, having that woman around has been priceless, and it's she doing what she does in a very large way enables me to do what I do. And so, hi, come here. Come here. Come this side. What are y'all doing? Yeah, all right. Well, you need to address this situation, okay? Children. My wife being my wife enables me to be me. There's no accident that the Father put the two of us together for a reason, and it's not a coincidence that when we really need to accomplish things for the Father, that sometimes our marriage falls prey to spiritual attack. And that's okay. We just hold hands and pray through it because we understand the context now, because I know who I am, I know who created me, and I know why I'm here. And so they all kind of inform each other. It's a system. It all works together. And yeah, I'm not awesome. I'm not awesome. I was created by the most awesome. And I have the most awesome wife. And I've somehow figured out an awesome sense of responsibility and weaponized that with an awesome strength of will that I'm pretty sure I inherited from my dad. None of that's 'cause of me. It ain't me, brother. I just show up. And so, if there's any takeaways here, if we're gonna flip this script around a little bit, we'll talk about takeaways. First and foremost, you gotta know the Father. You just have to. And then if you know him, but you don't know his will for your life, all you gotta do is ask him. And then you need to shut up and listen. We spend too much time talking and not enough time listening. So shut up and listen, and he will speak to you in languages you can understand. And he will use love to weaponize you for good, to put you on the battlefield where you belong so you can take your rightful place in the army of his kingdom and effect good for him. You can learn discipline. You can learn willpower. You can absolutely in the moment just refuse to give up. Refuse to give in. It's this. You just decide, this isn't happening. I will not allow this to happen. Well, that doesn't make any logical sense. Nope, it doesn't. But that's what's happening. Or, I'm doing that. You can't, it's impossible. Watch me. I'm doing it. And so, you can learn how to flex that muscle that unequivocally no, or unequivocally yup. And anybody within reason who's just naysaying you for the sake of being an a-hole, cut them out of your life. You don't need that. And I don't care if that's your mom or your best friend or, you know, your business partner. Get rid of them. Put them on a shelf for a time. press pause on that relationship. And the last is you need somebody who will be your cheerleader and who will love you unequivocally. Not always agree with you, not always kids, not always agree with you. Definitely not somebody who's going to blow smoke up your butt, but somebody who will be there and appreciate you and be your North Star. Somebody who's steadfast that you can navigate by. That can be a wife or a husband or a friend or a mentor, but it's about a deep relationship with somebody who's going to call you on your BS and drive you to be better than you are. Thank you for the question, John Slatton.